Lama Dangong Poje Tsun Jampe Yan La Chat Se Lu Kangi Lo Zhi Jibni Jinja Nita Namda Rabza Yinye Dungu Yijin Zinji Nipi Tukale Bamzi Kanda Zipe Zedar Mari Muntung Dunga Jizirwe Dozo Gula Puji Zela Duju Yanden Dupa Chero Nyunmo Nilo Nili Jado Doze Mari Munze Dunga Nyuku Ninye Chutse Radina Dune Dao Jin Sa Chi Tar Zi Yun De Lun Zo Jia Ze Tu Ku Juda Juda Juni Jian Zhi Da Lu Mun Se Jiang Bei Yang La Zhi Omara Bazana Di 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 Omara Bazana Di 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 Omara Bazana Di 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 Omara Bazana Di Zede Jeki Jenra Uzuki Dalu Dimu Mumbarab San Kadan Tenchu Shunu Topai Lodre Pope Nawa Tsaduso Kangze Tawar de Bam Chunze Jiwar de Nayang Umpo Jamyan Jenini Lengme Paryang Tongwar Sho. Welcome to our class. I want to just open the floor for questions. Are there any questions from anyone?
Yeah, so Daniel, I will, and maybe we can do this at the end. I do have a couple uh just a questions on the T-land lesson 4, and it's actually two sentences in particular, number 24 and 25. That's where it
Sure. Let's do it
but
now actually. Let's do it now because we have to have a solid basis to build upon, right? Doesn't make sense to move on if something is unclear. Uh, so can we see the text? Yeah.
yes.
Uh, am I on the right area of the text? I don't remember. Maybe
So
not.
it's actually on
What's
page 61. Yeah, there we
61?
go.
Okay.
Page 61.
Okay. Which number you said?
So let's start with number 25
Sure.
and just and so I think the the verb at the end is offer, and it's a tade vowel.
Mm-hmm.
Is that correct?
Yes.
And then that's where it got quickly complicated for me. I just had a hard time. And so, for example, the let's see, looking at it here. So number 25 is the first syllable is me, so that's human,
Yes.
and the second syllable is good or excellent. And so is that good humans or excellent humans?
Yeah, exactly.
And then what is the next syllable do? What is po do in that sentence?
This one?
Yeah.
D.
No, the third syllable, the po.
Oh, Sangpo. Oh, Sangpo goes together with Sang. Sangpo is the me Sangpo is the that which describes a human. The adjective, right? That's the word in English. Uh,
So is po a particle?
Sangpo is not a particle. It's just the second. For example, good. You can say Yakpo. Sangpo
Oh, I see.
is just the second syllable of a verb.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a po.
And
Mi
then
sangpo.
move on to
Mm-hmm.
first, then the fourth syllable.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Does I think that means by itself by or this.
Actually, this means this, just that, right? We learned this kind of, I think they're called demonstrative pronouns, this and that, the and the, except that this is marked by the agente particle here.
Oh,
Yeah. So this is the, uh, I mean, it's everywhere, I guess. We see a lot of the and the. Maybe I don't see any orders here nearby. But you know what I mean, right? Oh, here is one day. This day is that, again marked by the agente particle.
okay. I
Hmm.
guess that's one place where this breaks down for me. So I know the agenta particles can appear attached to the preceding syllable, but boy, that makes it looking at that, if I were to go to the Christian dictionary, I would look up all three of those characters together and try to make sense of them. I would not intuitively say, oh, the saw is a particle.
Actually, what we can do, let's try this out. I'm also curious. Uh, let's see if we can use the AI. Because the thing, like I was telling you in one message, I don't know if it was to the group message or to your own personal one, but I was saying that the issue with the dictionary is that it cannot get context. It can only get individual words. And because as you guys can see now, actually, as you guys can see now, the agente particle will have a different function based on context, right?
Right.
So then dictionary cannot process that. I mean, it is not what it does. For example, I don't know, let's do this just for fun. I'm also curious. It was
It's apostrophe dis,
me
dis. Oh yeah.
me sampo D, right? Yeah, it does it. So you can also use Manlam AI, I guess. But again, like it will not know that this is a I guess if you type the rest. What is the rest actually? Miss Tangpo D, can you say?
Uh, it's Guspa, and so it's
Gupe.
and ga and sa.
Hmm?
It's Gupe.
Oh,
Chopa.
Gupe.
Gupe. Oh yeah, I remember now. Chopa. How you spell Chopa? I forgot. Bao, right?
Chopa. Ma.
Ma.
Cha.
Bull.
Naro.
Like this?
Babu. Make offering. Yeah.
Yeah, so this command
Chuck,
just yes.
just a quick question. How do you type in here? You are not using the Wiley system.
Oh, I'm typing
How do you?
directly. Yeah, I'm typing directly in Tibetan. Actually, I don't know if this works
Okay,
with Wiley. Let's see. I have a Tibetan keyboard. I don't know if you can see my screen. I can have these two
yeah.
keyboards.
Mhm.
And this
Uh,
is, it says Wiley, but
is Chise the keyboard?
I'm, go ahead.
Yeah, I use Chise keyboard to key in also,
Yeah.
which is easy and fast.
So these, for example, let's see if I can type with Wiley and what happens just for fun. Let's experiment.
Mhm.
Yeah, I will not get it.
No,
It
You,
won't,
no,
it won't
no.
work. I
you
tried.
have to, yeah, you have to
Okay,
use the,
okay.
you have to use
The keyboard.
the keyboard. So you can also use AI, I guess, to cheat on your homework.
Yeah, use it to check on the homework.
Yeah.
Well, I've tried it, but it doesn't work well, to be honest.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's a hit or miss, I guess. Let's go back to our text. So is that so clear so far, Kip? So
Yes, that is
me,
clear.
this is the misangpo D. So this is this whole thing is called a nominal group, and this is the agent because it's marked by the agentic particle. And the reason we know it's the agent also is because it's a sentient being, and because we know that this is a hade verb, bull, to offer, right? So then
Right.
we know there is some agent somewhere. Then you tell me what's happening here, Kip.
Well, those two words together mean respectfully, right? But so that's an agentive particle. Uh,
Yeah,
so
in
the agentive particle is converting the noun into an adverb.
yes. Actually, when I saw this, I first thought it was converting it into an instrument, but an adverb it sounds better actually if you say respectfully. But
Okay.
if you think about it, the meaning would be the same. Like if you turn it into an instrument, it would be like this good person uh, makes offerings by means of respect. But it doesn't sound so good in English. Respectfully sounds better.
Yeah, I guess the foundational problem I'm struggling with is the prevalence of saw. And when saw is at the end of a syllable,
Hmm.
knowing when that is playing a particle role and when it's just part of the syllable,
Hmm.
that's hard.
Yeah. Uh, when it's playing a particle role in this, yeah. Basically, you have to know the word beforehand. Like you have
Right.
to recognize that this is the. What you can do is just search for this in the dictionary. If you suspect, if I see this and I suspect, here I think it's pretty obvious because usually when there is a pa next to a sa, uh, that's already because so many words are end with pa or po like this.
Right.
I feel like that's easier, but in this case, yeah, it's a little bit more difficult. If you suspect that there is an agentic particle, then you can just search for this much in the dictionary, only for this ao dagi gudi.
And
And
can
see,
I just ask one more question and then I'll shut up?
of course, you can ask anything.
Okay.
There's no
The
rush.
fi the final syllable in number 26, which I
Uh-huh.
think is pronounced, I'll embarrass myself. So that's shig or sheg,
Chic, chic,
shik.
yeah, chic.
And so I understand that to be a particle that is creating prohibition to a negated verb. I mean, that's from T-Land, page 54.
Mm-hmm.
But I could not find the negation of the verb.
You
I
said
think
it,
the verb at the end of 26 is to go or to come, which is tamide,
yeah.
but it's not negated. And so then I could not make sense of that final particle, which seemed to be demanding a negated verb, and I just saw the verb.
Where did you see that this means a negated verb?
Page 54.
54. Let's see. Okay.
And yeah,
Uh,
okay, you're close. There at the top. Prohibition is constructed by adding the particle to the
But
negated. There you passed it. There it
Kip,
is.
oh, I passed it.
Kip, but
Oh,
the part that he just passed is may also be related because it's like may it be may something,
yeah. It's just
at the bottom,
adding. Yeah,
wishes and
yeah.
aspirations.
Yeah, so it's basically saying that shock like made this happen. And if you want to make a prohibition, then you need the negation. But it's not that you need it. So it's may this happen or may this not happen.
But hold on a second. On
Hmm.
that sentence that begins, prohibition is constructed by adding the particle, and that very particle appears. And so
Hmm.
it's the shag or shock,
Chic, chic,
sheep.
chic, chic.
I
Hmm.
mean, I'm seeing that, and so you're saying that chic actually can appear as a particle and mean something else.
No, you can shik just means uh like do it like let's see, let's look at this example. Sulayang maten shik. Like any sulayang is to anyone. Maten shik. Don't show it to anyone. But for
But
example, mhm,
but in all those examples, it says that the verb should be negated with the particle ma.
mhm, yes.
And so
But
I was looking for the particle ma, and I just didn't see it. And
mhm, this is one. So basically, the thing to understand is that this is an optional construction with shik or chick or chick, chick or a chic, right?
okay,
So this is one thing you can do with chic is this, but another thing you can do with chic is also a wish or aspiration. Here is also you can see gur chic or shock. So it's not necessarily that the case that chic
ah,
is always going to be a prohibition. It can also be a wish or an aspiration.
got
Yeah,
it.
because
Yeah,
in page the beginning in page 7, lam shik is just a path.
exactly.
Yeah, so shik can be
Oh, exactly. Chic can
can
also
have
mean
many
exactly.
indication.
Exactly. Chic can also mean in the example that San just mentioned, it would be an or
Yeah.
a path.
Okay.
Yeah, so
But I
it
believe that in 25 it is a wish. Me,
yeah, let's go back there.
And I'm sorry for monopolizing this class.
No, no, it's
no,
okay.
no, yeah, it's
It's good. This is a good
Yeah, it's a good question that make us think even
of
more.
course. Of course, of course.
uh,
This is useful. I want you to ask all the questions actually. Were we on 26, right?
26, final
Yeah,
syllable.
so let's check out this one. Que que duzumgi sanye tsewa chempu dir shik. So in this
Mm.
case, it's functioning as a like may it happen,
Right.
Kie is like oh or like I or something like that. Dusum san Dusum ki sangye, the Buddhas of the three times. Shek, like you said, can mean this is the verb, so it's a tamide verb, so it doesn't take an agente particle. The subject doesn't take an agente particle. Shek is to come or to go. Like for example, in the 7-9 pair to Guru Rinpoche, we also say Shek Suso, like please come here and Jinjilape Shek Suso, come here and give us your blessing. This is also the way we say in Tibetan Deshin Shelpe Ningpo, Tathagata Garbha, sometimes translated as Buddha nature because there's no word in English, but it actually means the dust gone. It's also this Shek. Um, so this word is very prevalent in text. It's a very high level word used for the Buddhas when they come and go. So he's saying the Buddhas of the three times, Tsewa Chempu, by means of this Tsewa Chempu, of this great love, dir, here, and this ra in this case, this is the same D we saw in the previous one. This and then it's marked this time instead of being marked by an agente
mhm,
particle, it's marked by a ladon. This
mhm.
ra is a ladon. So it says two, literally it says two this, but it means here, actually. Dir.
Yeah, so that was also where I thought it was a little tricky because I thought in the T-Land book earlier in one of the footnotes they introduced Laden particles, but they say for purposes of this textbook, we're just going to use law.
Oh no, they're gonna use actually there will I think in the next chapter they will be introduced.
Okay.
Yeah, because they're it wouldn't make sense for them to just use la because you can see these other ones all over the text, especially because this is a classical because
But
this
I
is a
guess
classic.
I've got the burden of being an attorney, so I do read everything carefully. I mean, on footnote on
Uh-huh.
footnote 39,
On which page?
it says
Which page? I want to see also.
it says only the particle la will be used in the following examples to indicate the place of existence, but keep in mind that the other six particles can be used. And so I guess in these examples,
Mhm.
all the Laden particles are in play, even though I think in footnote 39, they lead the reader to believe that
Let's look at this footnote also now,
footnote
because
number
I can go and complain to RYI, you know.
Yeah, exactly. It's page 33.
33.
For a lawyer, the footnotes are darn important. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, great to have you around.
Page,
footnotes.
oh, 33 or
Oh, I'm
23?
39,
39.
page 33.
Wait, footnote 39. Oh,
There it
I
is.
see. Okay, so let's read this, okay.
Laden
Um,
particle,
the random particles are a group of 7 particles having the same meaning. The function of these particles will be covered in detail. To simplify the learning process, only the la will be
Yes.
used in the following examples. We'll miss
Oh,
this part.
okay.
Not in the whole book, only in the following examples.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's just saying here, you know, in whatever is coming up next, not in the whole book.
Okay. So
Yeah,
all the Laden particles are in play.
yeah, these ones. It makes sense. They have to use them because this is a classical introduction to classical Tibetan text, right? So,
Okay.
and these are used mainly in classical Tibetan. They don't
Got
really
it.
use them so much in spoken colloquial. So yeah, I mean they would have to use them. Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, no problem. Do you guys remember what page we were on? Is it this one?
Mm.
Page 61.
61. Oh yeah. So um is this one clear now? 26?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank
So
you.
by means of may the Buddhas of May, Shik, may the Buddhas of the three times come here by means of great love. That's more or less the translation.
Is it love or devotion, or it might mean both?
That one means love, actually.
Love.
Like for
Okay.
example, you guys know Kiense, Kiense, like
Mm.
Kiense Rinpoche. That's the same say.
Okay.
Kien is like knowing, Sewa
Hmm.
is love, which is to be distinguished from Jampa. Jampa is love also in the
Hmm.
context of. Let's look at our dictionary just to just to check, you know. Or should we ask Monlam? Or no, let's ask Christian, I guess. Oh, let's see.
By the way, in this dictionary, I can type with Wiley,
Yeah, this is why I like it also. I don't need to change the
uh, uh,
keyword.
and whenever needed, I would type in Wiley here and then copy paste into the other one. Just that
Mm,
you know it's possible. I mean, it's
mm.
obvious, kind of.
Yeah, this is cool actually. I mean, they have now love, kindness, mercy. Usually we think of it as love, like as you guys can see here, loving kindness.
Hmm.
There's two main words for love. This is the most common one, tsewa, but the other one, like they would use it for immeasurables, is jampa, which is literally Maitri in Sanskrit, metta in Pali, which is the loving kindness.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah, but for this one, yeah, this is love. I would translate it as
Oh, yeah,
love.
yeah. Kripa
Yeah,
is the Sanskrit. Yeah, yeah, I see.
kripa. Yeah,
So those are different.
yeah. So you can look at
Slightly different. I mean,
slightly different. Yeah, it's also hard for me to grasp the difference because um, I mean, usually we only have one word in English, and I grew up speaking Spanish, and then we also have one word for love, I guess, as far as I can think of. So, yeah, so here we go. Yeah, by means of love. Great love. Sewa Temple by means of great love. Are there any other questions? Anything else?
Uh,
Any?
I have just a question about general question about this AI tool. I'm sometimes using it to hear the pronunciation,
Mm-hmm.
and I wonder whether it's a reliable pronunciation that comes from there. What is your opinion?
Oh, I haven't used it for that.
Because sometimes it sounds strange and contrary to the rules that
hmm,
we've learned.
yeah, maybe you can send me an example and I
Mhm.
can listen to that specific one. But,
Okay. The specific example that
mm,
made an impression on me is the word you,
mm-hmm.
uh, which was which was
This would be under text to speech, right?
yes,
You, like Kerang?
yeah, yeah. It would pronounce it uh, something like che or something. Very strange.
Yeah, I can hear that actually. So this is a question of accent. Uh,
Okay.
in so what are we the pronunciation that we learned is actually from uh, it's actually from uh,
Central.
central, yeah. Utsang. Utsang is called. U and Sang are two provinces in the center. U actually literally means center.
Mhm,
U, like Uma. Uma is Madhyamaka, the middle way.
mhm.
Uma Temple, the great Madhyamaka. Utsang, we're learning Utsang pronunciation, but actually uh, this is more like a Kampa accent.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
I
like for
see.
example, if you listen to the Kampa Lamas who say Lama la chapsucho, chapsucho, you know.
Mhm,
Maybe you
mhm,
have heard,
mhm,
even sometimes when they write it in English, they use cha for chapsucho,
mhm.
like Lama la chapsucho. And actually here in the local dialect in Bhutan, in Songkha, they do a little bit of that also. They say chu. For you, they say chu, chu, chu,
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
chu, gachi,
Okay,
gachi you. They say chu,
okay.
chu. It's like a little, if you naturally, it kind of comes out naturally if you say
It's
chu.
close. I
It's very
understand.
close.
It's
Yeah.
close. It's close. I mean, I could understand where it comes from because of the proximity, but I assumed it might be a defect. But you're saying it's not a defect. It's just simply a different pronunciation style, different accent, different
Yeah.
dialect.
Yeah. It's like Australian English and English and American English.
I see.
Is that something like that? Or this Scottish English, something like that.
Mhm.
Yeah. There's many dialects in Tibet. And I mean, just in Nepal, there's, as far as last I heard, is 125 languages in a small country,
Wow.
because,
Wow. 125
mm,
languages.
yeah, I mean,
Come on.
ethnic groups actually, but
Okay.
some of them are very similar, I feel like, but originally, I think 123 maybe, something like that. You can
Huh.
look it up.
Huh.
So the reason for this, and this also applies to Tibet, is because basically in mountainous terrain, it's very difficult to, like, you're in your own valley basically, you
Yeah,
hang
yeah,
out in
yeah,
your own
yeah.
valley.
Isolated communities and they diverge somehow.
Exactly. So
Okay.
even though
Nice.
distance wise they're not that far, like it's difficult to go to another valley, like I have to hike up that mountain pass and down, and then in the winter it snows, then you cannot cross
Yeah.
that valley if then you go down, but
Huh.
there's these other people there, so it seems like
Huh.
people hung out in their own little valleys, and that gave rise to
Yeah.
many different. For example,
Interesting.
another example also is I was reading the biography of Turton Sogyal Lerab, and he was the teacher of the 13th Dalai Lama. This is an amazing, really a fun biography to read, by the way. Really cool. Actually, it blew my mind reading this. So many cool things in there. But there, he actually is a prophesized like teacher for the 13th Dalai Lama. And then when he goes to meet him, and they even need a translator, because the 13th Dalai Lama speaks Central dialect, and he speaks this Amdo slash Ham dialect from Golok.
Huh.
So even within Tibet, the greater Tibet, right? They need, so they may need
translator.
translators. Yeah, it's not.
So it's interesting.
That's
We once went on a 2 week hiking trip in the Pyrenees
Mhm.
in northern Italy, and it's the same thing. And actually, that region was invaded by Germany during World War II, and actually many of
Mm,
the installations are still there. But it is such mountainous terrain, and so there was it was originally occupied by the Romans, and they said you could travel from valley to valley in these little towns, and there was a unique blend of Latin, German, and Italian spoke. It
mm,
just
hmm.
spoken in that one town,
yeah,
because those people just were isolated over time.
yeah.
Hmm.
There is one language like this in Switzerland. I forget the name. Uh, the what there's four main languages in Switzerland. It might be related to one of those. There is also, like you mentioned, a combination of those languages.
Yeah,
Yes, guys. So let's go back to our text, I guess.
Hmm.
Uh, so are there any other questions? Are you okay, Kip? You can
I'm
ask
done.
away. You
I'm
sure?
sorry to. Yeah, thank you.
No, no, no. It's not being sorry. Like, we're all learning. Even I'm also learning about the book. Um, so are you sure? No more question?
Yeah, no, I'm good.
No.
Thank you.
Okay. Then that was the homework. We finished the homework. By the way, I think last time I rushed over the previous part of the homework. Is there anything unclear? Vocative case uh, is basically when you're calling someone. This is the eighth grammar case. The name usually appears in the beginning of the sentence. Yeah, it can mean like hey, or oh, que, or kahe, que. There's not much to it actually. It's just que, like oh. Sometimes they put quema, something like that too. Before we covered everything, right? Nominalized verbs. Oh, this is, I guess, actually this is important, nominalized verbs. But let me just make sure. I wanna go in order somewhat. So we covered this imperative mood, right? Did we last class? I don't think so. I think I briefly touched upon it. Um, so in kultik is in Tibetan is called kultik. So basically we had this chik shik rishik, and this depends upon the spelling of the suffix of the previous syllable. That's how we determine which one of these we will use. And basically it's just a command kind of thing. Sit, ne, um, shock. Also like made happen, or kind of like a command. Uh, is this is clear?
I've read it, but what was unclear to me
Mhm.
is whether the verb is in present tense or is there a special that apparently there's no special form of the verb for
Yeah,
for this case. It's just the particle, right?
no, actually the verb has its own conjugation. For
Oh, it
example,
has an imperative mood,
yeah,
imperative
this is an
form.
example. It can or it cannot. Uh,
Hmm.
Remember that some verbs have all four forms. The four forms of the verbs, there's four types of verbs in Tibetan: present, past, future, and imperative.
Oh, I forgot that there's the fourth, which is
Yeah.
imperative. Okay, okay, makes sense. Then all is good. Okay,
So this is the
I
imperative
simply
form of
forgot.
ta. Ta means to see.
Mhm,
Ta nga takiyo. I'm
mhm,
looking at something, not to see. I'm sorry, to look at. So te is the imperative, and this is very useful to know because, for example, in a text, like it says, or if it says, for example, semla te, it's telling you, look on your mind. It's almost like commanding you or telling you, like, look, look at your mind, and this is expressed by this conjugation. Dagla te shik, like look at me with they put the exclamation mark because in English we cannot conjugate it. You just say look, like the verb is not conjugated, right? In English you would infer this by the tone that you would say, look at me, look at me,
mhm.
and you have to look. So look at me, like it depends how you say it. There's no
Yeah.
conjugation, but in here in Tibetan we have a conjugation, so at least for this verb, of course, some verbs don't have it.
Sorry for another quick question. In a
Mhm.
case like this where the verb has an imperative form, could you skip the last um the stack on
Yes,
particle shik?
yes.
Okay.
The shik is mainly in this case is emphasizing it, but yeah, you can skip it. It's mainly for example, there is no imperative form here. This is
Mhm,
tun, just means to teach. Tun shik, like teach the sacred dharma. Like if the verb doesn't have that imperative conjugation, that's when the shik becomes more important.
mhm, mhm, mhm.
This is also not a conjugation. This is the sit. Or is this, as far as I know, this the could also mean, actually, I could be mistaken. Maybe there's a bow here, if it's just to sit in a present tense. But this is just so you guys know, as a side note, this is an example of a verb that actually changes its, even though like the formal verb is de, we never use this in colloquial. We say de, like I sit or I stay somewhere. But anyways, that's not important, I guess, in this context for now. Um, is this clear?
Yes.
Yeah. So this is called the imperative form, imperative mood. So you can do it, you can either have a verb or you can throw in this shock or chick. You can either have its own conjugation or not. The particles rock, shock, and dang are sometimes seen in classical Tibetan to form imperative mood, but it's much less common. So it can happen, I guess, also. Yeah, dang also. I've heard this like shuk dang. Yeah. There's even another function of dang. Um, dang also has many functions. It can work as and.
Mhm,
It can also work for making lists. And this, as you guys can see, can also work as an imperative dang. Uh, yeah, this is a little bit long, but let's Yulpache Dangpo Chena Cherang Medi Choksu Shok. This has a lot of new vocabulary. Maybe it's a little bit too complex to go through it now. um, Wang Yunten na Cher Shok. Cher Shok. Wang Yun Yu. Yun Yu na Cher Shok. If you have the offering, bring it here. The key here is to care shock. Care is to bring. This is also used in colloquial care shock. This is the example of the imperative mood. Care shock. Drupar shock may be accomplished. It's actually all over the prayers if you guys because we're always making aspirations, right? In in Tibetan, there's always like, oh, may this be accomplished. Semchen Tamche Dewa Duparshok. May all sentient beings accomplish
Mhm.
happiness. Uh, Dewa Duparshok. May they be happy. Yeah. Then we come into the example that Kip mentioned before, prohibition. Basically, you just say the same, you use the same form, but you negate it. So, Sulayang Matenshik. Sulayang. Literally, this means Su is who, to whomever. To whomever, the negation Maten Chik, Maten, don't show. And this is the imperative mood. So to anyone, to whomever, don't show it. But in English, we would say, don't show it to anyone. De la tetsom machechik. Tetsom is doubt. Tetsom ela, like there, or to that. Mache is don't do, but literally like don't doubt, right? Tetsom mache. Tetsom che is to doubt. But literally it means do doubt, to make a doubt, to do a doubt. Cheek. Is that clear?
Yep,
Yeah.
at least to me.
If there's any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. Prayers of aspirations also Yuri cheek. Like in this prayer for the four immeasurables, we say Semchen Tamchen, Dewa Dan, Dewe Judan, then Pare Yuri cheek. May beings have happiness, Dewa, Dewe you, and the causes of happiness. Semchen Tamche, Dewa Dan, all beings have happiness, and the causes of happiness. Then Par, may they be endowed with, then Par Yuri cheek. This is
And so
also,
here at
huh?
this point, I mean, they introduced the concept of auxiliaries. So
Mhm.
an auxiliary is just, it's not a particle, it's just additional designated characters added that do a certain function or
Exactly. Yeah.
okay.
Later we're going to learn this other auxiliary that because sometimes the verb is unclear whether the verb is in past or future, there are some auxiliaries we can use because the verb maybe only has one form for all tenses. There is an auxiliary that can help also give us a clue as to whether the verb is past or future, whether it's present or not. We will learn that in the coming chapters also. But yeah, auxiliaries also seem to to think about, to conceptualize with, are linked to many verbs like par or bar. Yeah, usually there is a war or a par before, like cheek or war cheek, par cheek. May an action happen, root verb plus par and war plus cheek or shock, or even I've seen them even all together. Gyurchik shock, Gyurchik shock also. But this is I think this is relatively straightforward and it's very common, especially because we're always making these prayers, right? These aspiration prayers. Um, so wow, is the class really almost over? I feel like we didn't do much. I guess what to do. Is that the real time?
Well,
I don't know if
it's my fault because I threw us off at the beginning.
no, it's not your fault because my computer is in. There's 15-minute difference in between Nepal and Bhutan, and I just realized that yeah, this is the right time. So, mm, yeah, these are some examples. Let me see if I can cover one more thing before we finish. Yeah, this is the four immeasurable prayer. This is actually in the prayer that the suggested daily prayers that the little file that I shared with you guys. So I think since we won't meet for a few days, please do the grammatical analysis of the of the prayers in that the prayers in that daily prayers that I mentioned. So the refuge, the four immeasurables, and the Guru Rinpoche 7-9 prayer. Okay,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So you guys can just write it on the paper or something, and then um, take a
And just
picture
on
and
that,
send
and
it.
we
Mhm.
did have an exchange on this on WhatsApp, but and so it does when doing that, finding the verbs is still the right approach, right? And then once, but the
Yeah.
trick is identifying the verbs.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Also look at the general structure, like a kind of like get a bird's eye view of what's happening. For example, here, where do you see the verb? Do you Amala you?
I mean, I don't,
Mm.
my eye wants to say, oh, well, it's at the end, but that's not,
So actually, because because we just learned this form, right? This was right up here. That's a formula,
Mhm.
par plus your cheek or shock.
Yes.
And then it says here root verb. Then I'll then I would infer, okay, whenever there is a par your cheek, whatever is before must be the verb, you know.
Mhm.
It's a little trick because this is what the formula tells you, right? Whenever you see
mm,
a part of your cheek or at your cheek, just look at that which precedes it, that which precedes it, and this is the verb actually to be endowed with.
And it seems the same happens in all the 4 lines.
Yeah, exactly. Because this is the formula, right? The formula
Oh,
actually
okay, okay.
gives you the trick.
Mhm.
The
Made
formula,
this, made that, made, yeah,
yeah.
okay.
The male beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. Male beings be free of suffering, be free of suffering and the causes of suffering. May they be free from that uh, happiness which is without suffering, and may they be endowed with great equanimity and
Oh, the
attachment.
4 immeasurables. Oh, here you
Yeah,
go. Okay, got it.
the four immeasurables, which are here. By the way, the definition of love in Tibetan is the wish for others to be happy.
Mhm.
Because it's interesting if you think, oh, we are this is the expression of loving kindness, right?
Yes.
But there is no love. The word love is not here. Love is champa, right? Maitri in Sanskrit, jampa in Tibetan.
Okay.
But nowhere do we mention love, even though this is the love
Yeah.
prayer, right?
Yeah. Oh,
Uh,
that's interesting. That
and
that's very interesting.
the reason for that is because this is the definition of love in Buddhism. The definition of love is the wish for others to be happy and to have the causes
Yeah.
of happiness.
Yeah.
So you're
It's not like I want this person. I want to have this person
yeah,
because I love him or her or whatever.
exactly. It's like it's not you're not saying I love. You're not saying that. You're like going
Yeah.
through straight to the definition. And then again, the definition of compassion is the wish for others to be free from suffering. So that's the definition of compassion. So again, you don't see ninja. Ninja is compassion. You don't see that word
Mhm.
here anywhere, even though this is the compassion prayer, right? Because instead of saying compassion, I mean, in a way, that's just a word. You're praying with the definition of compassion.
Mhm.
May Dungal Jiju, suffering and the cause of suffering, cause of suffering, Dungal Jiju, Tandralwar, be separated from
Mhm.
the suffering and the cause of suffering, Gyurchik. May all this Semchen Tamche applies to every single one of the lines. This is also something common in Tibetan. You will see that there is the subject is stated once, and
Mhm.
then there is many things. So each one of these lines applies to this Semchen Tamche, even
Mhm.
though it's not said. You don't say it. Sometimes they say it actually. I've heard some prayers where they say it, but yeah, just so you know, like the subject can be here and then many lines apply to that same subject.
Mhm.
Here they do mention it. Uh, Tangyom is Tangyom Chempo. Tangyom is equanimity. So they do mention it for the fourth one, but they don't mention it for either one of the threes. And just to, since we're talking about the four immeasurables, the third one is joy, and that the joy is explained as the direct antidote to jealousy, and is also explained as the easiest way to accumulate merit. If you see somebody who has something good, then if you just rejoice, you accumulate the same merit as them, and it
Mhm.
works as a direct antidote to, like I said, to jealousy.
Mhm.
So that's the third one here. But anyways, the point here is the Yurchik, May, and May. Par Yurchik actually. Then Par Yurchik, Dalwar Yurchik, Dalwar Yurchik, and Ne Par Yurchik. Abide. This is the same Ne as in Shine. May they abide or may they remain in great equanimity. Tangyum Chempo.
How about
La.
equanimity? The meaning of it is the same equanimity, or?
In terms of meaning here, for example, in Kuzan Lama Shelung, in the words of my perfect teacher, Patron Rinpoche teaches equanimity first, and then he teaches the other ones.
Mhm.
Because the equanimity, what he says is that you're supposed to, it's easy to just love, wish happiness for your loved ones, right? Your family and your friends, and you to
Yes.
wish for them to be free of suffering. But then that's not immeasurable, then that's
Mhm.
measurable. Because these are the immeasurables, they need to be equanimous, meaning towards everyone, towards the
Mhm.
people that are close to you, the people that you don't know, the people that you don't like, everyone. So there's a sequence of meditations that you expand your these three um, towards everyone. But first, you have to make everyone equal. And
Mhm.
in Bodhicharya Avatara, Shantideva also explains there's a meditation of exchanging self another, in which basically you meditate on the equality of all beings, because all beings want to be happy. And there's a set of meditations in which, based on that logic, you equalize um, self and other.
Yes.
That's Shantideva's approach, and then there is also Atisha's approach, which is based on this teaching. It's called the 7 point cause and effect. And from this approach is you meditate on the fact that because we have been wondering, samsara is boundless, yeah, is boundless, and then we have been cycling in samsara with all beings. And for each, we have taken so many rivers, uncountable, so many, beginningless, since beginningless time. And each time we took rivers, we had, we needed a one body. And each time we needed a body, we needed a father and a mother. Therefore, each one of these beings has been our father and our mother in the past.
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah.
Therefore, and then you do this logical, you could really conclude that actually all beings have been your mother. And then you meditate on the kindness of your mother in this lifetime, and you see, wow, like my mom wiped my butt, and when I was cold, she held me with her body, and then she fed me with her milk, and she was actually, I'm alive because of her. She gave me my body, and then you apply that to that meditation to all beings, and then you realize, wow, all beings have been so kind. Why do I not like some of them? And then that's the
Mhm.
these are the two main approaches to develop relative bodhicitta. So one is from Shantideva and one is from Atisha.
Mhm.
But anyways, that's Tangyam would be related to equalizing all beings, and then you apply these meditations towards each one. Uh, then do we have time? I guess not so much. Next class we will cover the nominalized verbs. I think these are also important because they can be in English, I forget the term in English, but for example, in English, ing, if you add ing to a verb, for example, talking, and sometimes it can be a present progressive, like I am talking or I was talking past progressive. But talking in a sense can also function as a nominalized verb, like
Mm-hmm.
the talking that he did, for example. Um, so anyways, um, we will cover this in our next class. Um, then if there is any questions on the homework, you can message on our chat. Also, because I am in Bhutan right now, and it seems like Wi-Fi is not really a big thing here. I'm using data, so and I'm going to upload these recordings when I come back to Nepal because I have to download them and upload them, and that takes a lot of data. So these big videos, right? So pay attention to the next few classes because then there won't be recordings until I reach back. Okay, I'll upload it then.
Sounds good.
Are
Yep.
there actually I'll do a dedication prayer, and then if you guys have any questions, we can talk for a little bit. I'll stop the recording also. Just 1 second.